Sorry if there are weird noises in the background. There's literally a man outside blowing leaves in the rain. Shit you not. It's the end of August, and so I guess it's time for a wrap-up. I read a bunch of things in August. Let's do this. The very first week of August was the Booktubeathon, but I didn't really participate. I was on vacation, though, and I ended up reading a lot, because it turns out when I don't have to go to work, I can get a lot of reading done. Who would have thunk it? So the first book I finished was A Room with a View by E.M. Forrester. This was really delightful, and I did a review of it, which I will link below if you want to know more. I think I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. We also, on our trip, listened to the audiobook of The Martian by Andy Weir. I also did a review of this. I also gave this 3 out of 5 stars, and I will link that review down below. And I will say that the audiobook was really fantastic. Then I read Seraphina and the Black Cloak by Robert Beatty, which is a middle grades kind of fantasy / horror, but horror geared for middle grades novel, and I also gave this 3 stars, and I also did a review of this, so I will link that below. I also read The Art of Asking by Amanda Palmer, which came highly recommended to me by Jen Campbell, and I really like this. I didn't know anything about Amanda Palmer going into it, except that she is married to Neil Gaiman, and I learned a lot about her life, but this is also, it kind of combines memoir with self-help, but not really like cheesy self-help that I would normally steer away from. I would say this is definitely a must-read for creative types, anyone who is artistic at all. It was really enlightening, and I enjoyed it very much, and I gave it 4 stars. Then I read A Piece of Mind by J. California Cooper, which is a very slim collection of short stories. I absolutely love this. I think I'm planning on doing a review of this, and that will be up soon. These are short stories about women in the South, particularly Black women, and kind of the theme running throughout all of the stories is kind of their relationship with men and how the men in their lives and typical gender stereotypes and gender roles kind of hold them back from being who they could be or doing what they want to do. Really great collection, and I believe I gave this one 4 stars as well. And finally, on vacation, we also had time to listen to the audiobook of Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut, which was a reread for my fiance, but it was my first time reading this particular Vonnegut. I really liked it. I think some things were lost on me in audiobook form, so I may have to go back and read it someday, but it's not too long, so that's alright. And I gave that one 3 out of 5 stars. So that's all I read on vacation, but I also this month read Urgent, Unheard Stories by Roxane Gay. This was the limited release that Roxane Gay did for Independent Bookstore Day back in May. And all the copies are signed, and it's just a little collection of essays. I liked some of them, I didn't like others quite as much. Some of them kind of have a lot of book recommendations in them, which is very cool, so I will be consulting this again in the future, and I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. Then I read Shantytown by Cesar Aira. I did a review of this. I gave this 3 stars. That seems to be my mantra today. Link will be in the description box. Then I read Ancillary Justice by Ann Leckie. This is, of course, the Hugo and Nebula award-winning sci-fi novel. And I was very intimidated by this going into it because I had heard that the way Leckie has structured this novel, all of the characters are referred to by feminine pronouns, regardless of whether they are male or female characters. And I thought that was going to be difficult to follow, but I was really just able to fall into it and kind of go with the flow. I really enjoyed this. I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of the trilogy, and it was really fun. I'm shocked that I read like 3 sci-fi novels this month, but I definitely recommend this. And I am not a huge sci-fi reader by any means, and I was able to really enjoy this, and I was very engrossed by it. So I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I also read Stardust by Neil Gaiman. After reading Amanda Palmer's book, I was kind of in the mood for Neil Gaiman because he's mentioned quite a bit in that book. And this might be my favorite Gaiman so far. Either this or The Graveyard Book. His other books I have kind of a wishy-washy relationship with, which I've talked about before. But I really liked this. It was simple and kind of quiet, and I left a bookmark in it, and I just loved it. I can't wait. I think I'm going to watch the movie adaptation soon because I hear that's very good. But this is a story of a boy who travels into Fairy and is on the hunt for a fallen star That's all I can really give away. It's kind of fun to watch it unfold. I believe I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I also read Claire of the Sea Light by Edwidge Danticat, and I have filmed a review for this. I don't remember if I've uploaded it. I don't think I've uploaded it yet, but I filmed it, so it'll be up soon. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This is wonderful. Danticat is an amazing, amazing, amazing writer, and if you have not checked her out yet, you must do so. Then I read another novella from my John Steinbeck bind-up. I read The Moon is Down, which is an interesting novella about what happens to a town when invading forces come in and try to take over. It was very psychologically complex. It was a little bit of a departure from Steinbeck's usual themes, but it did have to deal with themes of what people will do out of desperation and to protect the people they love, which are kind of common themes for Steinbeck. And I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't enjoy it so much as I was reading it, but it's kept me thinking ever since, so definitely worth checking out. I also read / listened to In the Garden of Beasts, Love, Terror, and an American Family in Hitler's Berlin by Erik Larson. Erik Larson has written one of my favorite history books of all time, which is The Devil in the White City, which I absolutely loved. This one I wasn't quite so enthralled with, but I like that Larson writes nonfiction that reads like fiction, because I'm not huge into history, though I do like to pick up a book now and then about specific topics. And his books are very focused and kind of narrow in scope, and they read kind of like novels. So this was good. I recommended checking it out if you're like really into the history of World War II or the Holocaust, because there were some interesting facts in here that I did not know beforehand, but I'm not huge into World War II history, so maybe not necessarily for me. But I gave it 3 stars overall. I also only read 1 graphic novel this month, and that was the 3rd volume of Alex and Ada, which was just recently published, I think maybe in July. I don't remember. Fantastic. This whole series is wonderful. It's so beautifully simple, and its themes are so universal. The art is just beautiful, and I will talk about this more in my next comic shop book. And then the last book that I've actually finished this month is Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh. I've been putting this book off for freaking ever. I don't know why. I've been like really intimidated by it. It's one of those books that sits on my shelves, and the longer I stare at it, the less I want to read it. But I finally forced myself to pick it up. I ended up really enjoying it. I gave it 4 stars. There were such intensely deep characters in this book. There were so many interesting themes. There's this overlaying kind of homoerotic subtext. Like, it's all very complex and very beautifully done. So I'm looking forward to checking out more Waugh in the future. And if you, like me, have for some reason thought that this was going to be terribly difficult to get through, that is not true at all. It was quite a delightful read. I was supposed to read Moby Dick this month for #AhabAugust, which was a read-along hosted by Rincey at Rincey Reads. I got 118 pages in and have not carried on. This is the 4th time that I have started this book and not finished it. I'm just got the audiobook. I'm going to try to start listening to it. And my goal literally is to just finish it by the end of the year. We'll see how it goes. If I don't finish it, I'm not going to try to pick this up again for many, many years, but we'll see how it goes. And I'm also currently about 200 pages from the end of The Little Stranger by Sarah Waters. Today is the 31st of August, so I may finish this tonight. It really depends on what I decide to do with the rest of my evening. But I'll probably definitely finish it tomorrow because I have off work. Really enjoying this. It's very interesting. I picked this up right after I finished Brideshead, and the kind of atmosphere and the setting are very similar, and the characters are kind of similar, and it's kind of freaking me out. But this is my first Sarah Waters. I'm loving it so far. We'll see how the ending goes. I hear that there are twists in my future. We'll see. So yes, I'm currently reading that as well. And that's all I have for you that I read in August. I would say that my least favorite read this month was probably The Martian by Anywhere, and mostly because it had so much hype and had been so elevated in my mind that I was really disappointed by it. But I had a pretty good month overall, nothing terrible. And my favorite book this month was probably either Brideshead Revisited or Ancillary Justice, which are two completely different novels, but I love them both. Please tell me how your month went. Tell me what your least favorite and favorite books were this month. I'd love to hear about it. And I will be back soon with a September TBR, which I haven't done in a long time. So until next time.